It is Thursday, and it is an action-packed Thursday. Oh boy, as my panel has already said, too bad nothing's going on. Hi everybody, Marthel Neville. A lot going on. We're going to have a great hour. We're waiting to hear from Governor of Texas, Rick Perry. He is going to officially endorse Newt Gingrich. We're waiting for that. When the governor takes the podium, we will bring it to you live. Once he does make that announcement, he will head back down to the Lone Star State later today. Okay, look who's here. Bernard Whitman, he's here. Bernard, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm well.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
I'm happy to see you. And Kevin McCullough is here.
Hey, Arthel.
Nice to see you as well.
Thank you.
So you know what's on everybody's mind today. First of all, let me let everybody know that Kevin has the binge thinker. Okay, I know how you chatters think. It's not what you think it is. It's the bingethinker.com. Is Kevin's.
Well, when you consider a former Baldwin brother as my business partner, use of the word binge is risky from the outset.
Which brother?
Stephen.
Stephen. Yeah. I love those Baldwin guys. And then you have, so that's your website. And then, of course, Bernard Whitman, you have whitmanstrategies.com. So go ahead and check out their websites as well. We are listening to, that's so funny. I got a funny, the chatters are very amusing sometimes.
Yes.
They think they know, and they don't always know. You know
we will make sure that they know.
No, they think they know insight about me, and they don't. Ha-ha. All right, so we heard the big announcement, or at least we're anticipating the big announcement. Have several topics that I do want to talk to you about. First of all, how big is this endorsement, this Perry endorsement, and what will it do for the Gingrich campaign, you think? Okay.
I frankly think that it is going to be very helpful to Newt Gingrich, but particularly since with the other news that we had today, that Rick Santorum actually won Iowa, not Mitt Romney, I think that this is going to be a welcome news for Newt Gingrich, because the news that Santorum actually came out victorious could really put some wind in his sails going into South Carolina. Gingrich has been climbing, Romney's been falling, Santorum has sort of been sitting steady. And I think that the fact that Santorum can come out and say, you know what, I was the victor in Iowa, I deserve serious consideration, I think that could inject his campaign with the sort of enthusiasm that he had hoped the evangelicals would put into his campaign when they didn't. This could help offset Perry's endorsement of Gingrich.
Three big important things have happened today, and all of them have hurt Mitt Romney. And that's the last thing that the Romney team wanted to see happen. He's going to lose a primary win, or a caucus win in Iowa. His poll numbers are sagging against Newt Gingrich. The polls are showing that there is momentum moving to Gingrich, particularly after the debate performance on Fox the other night, where Gingrich disassembled the moderators and then pretty much overshone everyone else that was on the stage. But the third thing is that Rick Perry's doing exactly what is necessary for the non-Romney element, which is really the genuine base of the Republican Party, to stop Mitt Romney in South Carolina. He's gonna say, it's not my time, I've got to get out, I'm distracting. The ultimate issue in the primary race is to find the strongest candidate by saying Newt Gingrich is the guy and taking himself out of contention. He's going to hurt Mitt. It's a very bad day for the Mitt Romney camp.
Bad day for Mitt. But as we go ahead.
Which means it's a great day to be a Democrat, because what this does is it slows the inevitable coronation of Mitt Romney. It exposes the weaknesses in the Republican Party. It shows, in fact, that the Republicans, over the course of this primary season, have become less and less and less enchanted with their cast of nominees, and it really calls into doubt the strength that Mitt Romney is going to bring to a general election campaign. He's going to have to question whether he's going to get turnout. He's going to have to question whether evangelicals will unite behind him. He's going to have to question whether he's really got the support of the entire Republican Party writ large. And I think, frankly, this is a great day for Obama to be up on the air in key states with his message, and I think it sets the agenda very strongly for the Democrats going into the summer and fall.
He's wrong on every point.
You know what, and I was going to say, it's all so complicated. There's so many layers, so there's so many questions firing in my head as you're speaking, and then I want to address you about some things you've already said. So Bernard, I'll talk to you about, I'll just take the last thing you said, how the president is going to go out in key states and deliver his message. What is that message going to be, and how key is it going to be for the president to get that message across without, at this moment, getting into attacking whoever the Republican candidate may be?
I think it's going to be a message of optimism, of job creation, and a reminder that this president is squarely behind the middle class. This president wants to ensure that we narrow the gap between the haves and the have-nots. One thing that has been made very, very clear here, that the Occupy Wall Street movement ignited a spark that the American people are sick and tired of those at the very top gaining more and more and more, while those in the middle and at the bottom get less and less and less. And all we have to look at is Mitt Romney's non-tax return to see this is a guy who is favorable to the wealthiest, and President Obama's plan is to create more wealth for the middle class.
Okay, so then of course Kevin would sit here and ask, then the president has had 4 years, and of course there has been some growth. I'm sure you would argue that the president has made some progress.
We have had 20 straight months of job growth.
Okay, so people are still, there's still high unemployment. It's not as high as it once was, but it's still fairly high. And in certain states, it's even higher than the national rate. So how does the president deliver that message and really convince his base that he can actually not only deliver the message, but deliver the results? Because people are still saying, I want to back you, Mr. President, but I don't see... Show me the money. Show me my job, my check, my weekly paycheck.
If you look at the record, this administration has been stymied at each and every turn since the fall when the president delivered a jobs program to Congress. The Republican Congress has refused to act on a single piece of that legislation.
His own Senate didn't pass that bill.
You know why? Because the Republican filibustered every bit of that jobs bill. Every bit.
Wait, what did you say?
I said the Republican senators have united to filibuster and prevent movement on any of those pieces of jobs legislation.
Harry Reid filibustered his own commander-in-chief. No, everything he said is wrong about Mitt Romney on this level. Mitt Romney is the easiest candidate for President Obama to beat in the fall of next year because he neutralizes Obama on his greatest weaknesses. The turnout for the Republicans will be largely based on repeal of Obamacare and getting the economy going. The economy's been stuck in pretty much neutral for the full 3 years that Obama's been there. Romney does not have the card to be able to say against President Obama, we think that your health care reform law was a mistake and we've got to do something to change it. He's saying he's going to do that to GOP primary voters now, but he's going to, every time he tries to do that in the general election, the president's return is going to be, well, thanks for writing it for us. Mitt has been the weakest candidate against Obama from the beginning, and the fact that Perry's stepping aside and it's going to be Santorum or Gingrich that starts to narrow the field, ultimately, I think Gingrich is going to be the guy. Romney's got some tough tests. So are you happy that or would you be happy if Gingrich becomes the I thought it was a weak field from the beginning, and I thought that Perry had the best legislative record, creating half of the new jobs in the country while Obama was losing. And you can't have net job growth. You've had 22 months of job creation, but net job growth would mean that you're not laying off more people than jobs are being created for. And you haven't had a month in the last 22 months where there's been more people getting jobs than more people that have not had jobs.
Then let me ask you, what is it, as far as from your perspective, what is the Republicans' plan to show the folks the money and put paychecks back into people's wallets?
Well, clearly the Republicans' plan is to cut taxes on the wealthy and pray and hope that somehow that money will trickle down into job creation. But what we've seen here is that corporate profits at a record high, corporations have not been able to create jobs. This whole myth that that the most wealthy individuals ultimately, if their taxes are cut and capital gains taxes remain ridiculously low, so people like Mitt Romney can pay 15%, somehow they will end up creating jobs. This is a myth that was busted during the Reagan administration. So the fact that we continue to have this debate about whether cutting taxes can immediately go to job creation is a bit absurd. And I will take issue on this one point. According to the latest poll, Ron Paul has a better chance of beating President Obama than Newt Gingrich does. So if you want to go ahead and nominate Newt Gingrich, the last time he was on the national stage, he got Bill Clinton reelected president. I would be more than ready to welcome him as the nominee.
I'd like to address the job creation issue because I don't know a single Republican candidate that's running on lowering the tax rate as a job creative mechanism. The biggest thing that has hurt job growth over the last 3 years is...
How are you going to correct it? That's what I want to know.
Right. You take off the regulatory controls of small business. Obama's been very anti-small business in his policies, especially as it relates to regulatory reform. You've got to take off the limits, and I'm not talking about, you know, Bill Gates and the Warren Buffetts of the world. I'm talking about the mom and pop shoe stores. You got to get the regulatory controls off of them so that they can hire people. Small business hires 2 out of every 3 new jobs.
Talking about besides
well, Obamacare is an $8,000 penalty for everyone that doesn't have a waiver if you don't give health insurance to your employees. That is a job-killing, commerce-killing measure for small business.
If you talk to the American people, and a recent, I believe it was a Washington Post poll just did, and ask them which is the greatest concern you have with respect to growing the economy, income inequality or overregulation, by 52 to 33, the American people believe that income inequality is a much bigger problem than overregulation.
But how do you get there? How do you get there? Income inequality. I mean,
you grow the pie of the economy. You create greater economic vibrancy throughout the entirety of the economy. So you hire people.
So you think
we have a smaller job base right now. Our job base is nearly 4% smaller than it was 3 years ago. And there's more people that are eligible for jobs. So are you saying,
tell me if you are understanding this as well, are you saying that, hey, make sure that these guys who are up at the top, that they're able to be unhinged from all of their restrictions, and so that therefore they can put money back into the economy, and that there is going to be that trickle-down effect somehow that is going to end up in the pocketbooks of the middle class? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to the mat for people that are making, you know, $5 million a year or more. What I'm saying is the small business sector of America, which is 75% of where the population works, where they go to work every day. You've got to create an environment where those entrepreneurs feel empowered to take more risks in the future. And if you empower them, they will hire people to help them accomplish their goals as a small company.
And one way to empower individuals is to make sure that they're able to get health insurance without being tied to a dead-end job.
Small
so the fact that the fact that individuals can take their health insurance with them and not be afraid that if they lose their job, they're going to lose their health insurance benefits is a tremendous entrepreneurship creator. And by funding jobs, construction jobs, by getting first responders, the money that they need to stay in place. Teachers, these are all programs that the administration put forward in the fall and that have not been
But you have to have an economy that's producing wealth in order to pay people.
Put a pin in it for me just for a second, because we're going to continue. There's much more, and I want to follow up on something you said, which is going to lead me to Liliana Gil. Am I saying it right?
Gil.
Gil. That's going to be all fancy because you're so exotic.
To make it easier.
Hello, Lily. Arthel here. Nice to see you.
She's
with Fox News Latino, a contributor there. So I'm going to bring you into this conversation by talking about something that Kevin just said. And Kevin thinks that Newt Gingrich scored big points, and perhaps he did in South Carolina there with his tete-a-tete with Juan Williams. And it was specifically regarding, in fact, if you guys have that soundbite, that exchange, Chris, we can pull it up, play it, and then we'll discuss it.
Great.
Speaker Gingrich, you recently said black Americans should demand jobs, not food stamps. You also said poor kids lack a strong work ethic and proposed having them work as janitors in their schools. Can't you see that this is viewed at a minimum as insulting to all Americans, but particularly to black Americans?
No, I don't see that.
Okay, so clearly the speaker got a great, applause there from the audience there in South Carolina. And Kevin, you said that shows not only did he obliterate in your implication the moderator and the moderator's questions, but he also, was really played to that audience. Okay, fine. And the reason why we're bringing Lily here, because Lily is talking about how Monday's debate there in South Carolina did bring in the issue of color, racial equality, unemployment, voting implications for minorities, and the list goes on. So much so that even challenges on Romney's Mexican roots were brought out. So, Lily, bringing you into the conversation, Kevin, I'll pull you back in. Kevin thinks that was a big score for Newt Gingrich on Monday night, but you have to bring that into the broader base and into to a general election. How is this whole color issue going to play out?
Well, first of all, I'm going to take us off script for a second back to small businesses. I'm a small business owner, and I agree that a lot of regulation is keeping us shy of hiring new people, so I'm definitely with you on that. Being here in New York, hiring about a dozen people here in the city of New York, and a minority-owned business. So now switching back to minorities in America.
And a female-owned business.
Exactly, Latina.
Yeah. All right.
That's right.
But before you go to that, do talk about, though, the restrictions that you would like to have lifted as a small business.
I think, you know, the cost of healthcare or just sometimes, and in my case, I understand the implications of the regulations surrounding healthcare requirements for my employees, et cetera, which is not like I'm going to take those away completely, but having limitations or so many, you know, strict ceilings or guidelines do keep me shy from hiring somebody that could be a full-time employee, and it makes it more convenient to continue this partial contractor role, which is not good for them and not good for me, but sometimes that's the way to go for us as small business owners, because when you bring in a full-time, you have so many things on top of you to fulfill that it just gets too expensive.
So you'd prefer not to be mandated, have a mandate to provide health insurance to your full-time employees?
Exactly.
But
and
as a small business person, you're probably exempt from that, because are you under 10 employees?
No,
No?
I'm not.
And
Unfortunately.
besides, Bernard, whatever your argument is on that, it's not really a good one, I have to say, because really you want to go with people who hire. I mean, not that you're not doing a great job having, even if she did have 10 or less. Come on, you still want the people who are hiring 35, 50, 100, 200,
Correct.
600 employees to keep hiring. So, you know, I don't know where you were going with that one.
Well, because ideally you want to be able to allow small businesses to hire and grow at a rate that's going to allow them to remain profitable, to generate revenue, to pay people so that they can contribute to the tax base as well. But if you have people who you are in your employ, who don't have health insurance, who feel very vulnerable, then that's going to create other pressures on society, because at the end of the day,
You know what?
someone pays. We all end up paying. When people without health insurance go to the emergency room, that is the most inefficient way to deliver health care of all.
Okay, listen.
And at the end of the day, someone's got to pay.
For the record,
it's not free.
For the record, I wish that we could have a perfect world and everybody had access to health care. Okay? That's for real. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, I can guarantee you that if I went to go to apply for a job at Lily's place
XL
of employment,
Alliance, yep.
what is it?
XL Alliance.
If I went to XL Alliance to apply for a job and Lily said to me, you know what, I can hire you, here's the deal though, but I won't pay for your health insurance. So you either take this job that's going to pay me a decent salary and put food on my family's table, or I'm going to pass that up because she's not going to provide health care insurance. So at the end of the day, you got to have work.
That is
sorry.
That's absolutely true.
And that's how you solve almost all of the problems with the current issues that are ancillary to the economy are always impacted by the economy. So if employers are able to have a successful service or product or whatever it is that they're producing.
Right.
And I'm a small business owner too. I have 7 employees, but I would like to have double that right now.
Yeah.
We have need for double that right now, but we're having to very much manage what we're able to do, and even the jobs we're taking because of that. But if you give people work, and if they are able to earn and produce within their own heart, dignity and confidence and everything that comes with work, then you start to solve some of the other problems, because you can purchase your own, you can look at co-ops, you can do other things that have been creative
I have to
solutions
take, I have to go to a satellite feed right now, but hang on, because, can you stay?
Absolutely, so we can talk about
I want to continue about the color issue, and also, Kevin, think about this. I want to know how the banks are treating you guys as the small business owners, if you're getting a little more help in that regard. Look, you can see how, Bernard, it gets confusing for the folks. You know, you hear a message, you believe that there is passion behind the message and good intention behind that message, and then you see lack of results, and then you hear the spin on the other side, or perhaps, and you would say it's not spin, it's the real talk.
I can see how it gets confusing, because this whole Keystone XL pipeline has got to be the biggest myth of the month. The fact that this had tens of thousands of shovel-ready jobs, absurd. It had a few thousand jobs, temporary jobs. The fact that the congressman can say that Obama's playing politics with this is outrageous. The Republicans backed the administration into a corner by mandating a 60-day period,
Because
up
the
or down,
president wanted
approval
more
on
time.
this.
He wanted more
That is
time.
outrageous.
Correct?
The fact that, yes,
To check out
you know
the
what this reminds me of?
environmental,
This reminds me of you remember back in 2008 when it was drill, baby, drill, and how disgusting that was, and look what we ended up happening in the Gulf? The Republicans
Okay,
are
I
so
think that
no,
might be
but
two
the
different
attitude
things. I think-
but the
come on,
attitude
jump in
here is
Kevin. What happened
oil.
with BP
The attitude is
and
oil
the
at
Gulf
all
is totally
costs.
different, right?
For damn the environment, doesn't matter. Let's bring this oil through. The truth is, we are now a net energy exporter for the first time in decades. This pipeline is something that very well may be the appropriate thing to do, not to rush forward in 60 days, having no idea what the environmental impact would be.
So when's a good time? I mean,
the president did the right thing by saying, you know what, we need time to study this.
How
take
much
a
time
year.
are we talking
Take
about?
not 60 days to figure out what the environmental impact of this longest pipeline
but if not
outside of
60
China and
days,
Russia is
how
going to be.
long?
I think it would clearly take about a year. That's what the president said he wanted, and the Republicans refused to give it to him because they wanted to score the political points by forcing him to veto this effort currently.
So, Kevin.
It's not just the Republicans that oppose the president on this. It's his own union support, and it's one of the reasons why his support is having trouble right now. He's making everyone mad on all sides of him. And to say that the Republicans had much of anything to do with the spill in the Gulf is tantamount to...
And he didn't
That's
say
not what I
that. He
said.
did not say that. Bernard did not say that, Kevin.
I said
He did not say that.
it's a reminder that oil is a dangerous product, and we need to treat the
when you
environment
have
very
Ken
carefully.
Salazar 6 weeks before the accident being petitioned by the men on that rig.
Okay, you know what? I'm stopping because I'm not
repeatedly-
letting the BP spill conversation turn into a political spin zone. Okay,
Well, you let him
I'm not
say
gonna. No,
anything you wanted
no,
to.
I didn't. Are you kidding me?
Anything
I have not. I have not, Kevin. I've been
Right.
more than fair
Okay.
here. I've been more than fair. So don't say that. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go to L.A. now because this is where, and I like you a lot, by the way, just for the record. This is getting warm in here, William. All right, so Perry, the podium's there. Perry's not there, but when he gets up there, we'll take Perry's speech, why he has decided to endorse Newt Gingrich as the GOP candidate for the 2012 presidential race. Okay, I still have my great panel here. Lily, so much I'm going to talk to you guys about. Lily, you've been patient, so let me let you talk about color and how the issue of color has come up in this race, and particularly in South Carolina.
Right. I mean, finally it came up because it was an obvious state to have that conversation. 1/3 of that particular state is diverse, you know, Hispanic and Black. And eventually, as we get now to the next states, with Florida being the next, where 1 in 4 is Hispanic, and in Miami 65% of the population is Hispanic, is going to start mattering more, and is going to start reflecting even more the DNA of America, which is becoming more diverse more quickly. We have fresh numbers from the census last year that is showing that there's a new reality, and therefore there is a new approach that everyone, regardless of party, needs to take into consideration if they are hoping to win in the states that matter. And South Carolina just got the first spotlight on that issue.
And when you're talking about taking matters into consideration, specifically what sort of issues are we talking about?
Well, you know, there's been so many polls, and I think we're over-polled and over-debated these days, and they change every day. But at the end of the day, yes, all of us, minorities included, care about healthcare and jobs. So I'm not going to change that or try to twist it any other way. However, what matters most with minorities, myself included as a Latina voter, is just the effort of acknowledgement and inclusion with relevancy and with a genuine approach, agenda, and plan that will take care of issues that, yes, include healthcare, but for Latinos includes immigration, for example, and also in that process of engagement in the state of South Carolina and now in Florida and the others, just taking the time to invest the money in advertising, to engage organizations and advocacy groups that matter with a localized effort that is genuine. And unfortunately, the GOP and now our leading candidate, Mitt Romney, hasn't done a great job by embracing that side of the voter base that could give him the states he needs to win.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple things. Give me some short answers if possible. Brilliant what you said, by the way. So if Gingrich has not delivered that message clearly, yes or no, has the president delivered those concerns clearly?
Well,
the voter base you're talking
the president knows that he got 64% of the Latino vote in 2008. He needs that to be able to win.
Can he maintain it?
I think he can maintain it. There's a lot of, you know, disenchantment because things like the DREAM Act and some of the immigration promises haven't been accomplished, and it takes time, I understand. But if he continues to at least make the effort to connect while the GOP is not, that's going to show a big gap. But Newt Gingrich, of all of the GOP candidates, is the only one that has shown a closer effort and a more clear approach to reaching that voter base.
So you think Gingrich is on the right track?
I think he is. I personally talked to him in his town hall in New York and asked him the question, what is your strategy to reach the Hispanic voter? And he has a strategy.
Then, so is there something, Kevin, lost in translation then between the speaker's intentions and the way he's delivering the message? Because he's coming across to some, which was evident in the exchange between he and Juan Williams, as this curmudgeon who is insensitive to minorities and their plight in life.
That's a pretty big opinion about how he responded to Juan, and the soundbite was cut very short for what we saw, because he went on to talk about how his own daughter reminded him that her first job was cleaning toilets in a church when she was 12 or 13 years of age, and that as he has talked about employment empowerment across the country, he's saying, when he says young people would prefer to have a job rather than food stamps, that's not an insult to food stamps.
He said black people. He said black people.
That's
Okay,
where,
There's plenty of white people on food stamps.
Right, and
If he
that's
said black people, it was blatantly offensive.
see, and this is specifically what I'm talking about.
The issue here
the
is
intent versus
whether
the
it is
actual...
blacks, Hispanics, Asians, Jews, or whites,
Yeah.
female, male,
Sure.
straight, gay,
Yeah.
nobody cares. Food stamps are always inferior
Yeah.
to the dignity of working.
And I think everybody agrees that, first of all, I don't want to say that, well, it's so complex on so many levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just make a blanket statement saying, well, I don't think that anybody, first of all, I don't think that anybody should just lean on the system and lean on food stamps if they don't really need it. Okay, first of all. However, it is a program that is in place for a reason. There are people who legitimately really depend on it, need it, and I'm sure if they really can get off of the food stamp roll, they will.
But Gingrich didn't say he was going to take it away.
And I'm not saying that no, I'm not implying that. Where I'm going here is that I think we all agree that, you know, a job is better than assistance. I don't think anybody's going to argue that.
And that's all he was saying.
But
I got to let Lily go in, because when you mention the word black, it does matter. Unfortunately, Kevin,
it does.
you say...
It really does. And look what happened in South Carolina. I mean, close to 30% of the population there is black. And that's why it was MLK Day. And it wasn't intentional or malicious, let's play the race card. But it was a matter...
It's been around a long time. It was very intentional.
It was a matter... No, and I'm not talking about Newt, but just the tone of the whole debate. There was more color. There were more connections to race and inequality and disparities, which is good, and it's the right state to bring that up. Okay. But Newt already got the heat of being...
Hang on right there for me. We're going to go now to Charleston, South Carolina. I want to thank my great panel that I've had here today. Lily Gill from Fox Latino, and then we have Mr. Kevin is here, McCullough, and Bernard Whitman is here with me. You guys have been great on your conversation. Appreciate it. I do have to dip back into the governor, his closing remarks there, and want to remind you, stick around, though, because right here on FoxNews.com, Chris Stirewalt is up next with today's Power Play. I'm Marthel Neville. Thanks for joining us.